Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore as we have concluded Group A, and now we move on to Group B. We're going to be opening things up with a ZVZ, and it's going to be KingkOng versus EffOrt, who we saw EffOrt play quite a bit yesterday. Doing very well for himself, and I know you look some effort.
Yeah, EffOrt. I hope either EffOrt or Scarlet wins the tournament. I hope they play in the finals. That would be a dream scenario for me. KingkOng, though, I don't know too much about him. I know he was on StarTale. He's been around for a long time. He occasionally pops up and wins a game or two, but not a player I know a whole lot about. Yeah,
KingkOng is a player that, as you rightly said, was on StarTale for quite a while when he was in Korea, and then decided to make the move out to the Southeast Asian region like full-time, and has lived in Brisbane for quite a while, and now is on a team over there called Avant-Garde that we haven't really seen much of. Avant-Garde is pretty much, on the international scene at least, represented by this man himself, Mr. KingkOng. And again, in terms of the Southeast Asian scene, he kind of goes down there and dominates a lot of it. Wins quite a bit down there. But there isn't that much to win down in Southeast Asia right now.
It's not a whole lot, but there are a lot of Zergs. So maybe he has become a ZVZ master, and he will manage to give EffOrt a challenge. But no, I think EffOrt's just going to dominate.
You think?
I hope.
Well,
that's what I'm looking for.
He's pretty good, gotta say. He's on the same team as people like Hydra, etc., so he does have some good ZVZ practice partners indeed. Derelict Watcher will be our first map for this Zerg versus Zerg as we get right on into it. So let's jump on in. And spawning up to the top right-hand corner as our red Zerg, he is CJ Enters's EffOrt. And down to the bottom left, we have our blue Zerg, Team Avant-Garde's KingkOng.
And we saw a 9-pool and then a 10-pool out of Curious, and EffOrt as well is a very, very big fan of the 10-pool. He's always played it a lot. He likes aggressive styles in general. He has excellent control. He likes to be able to take control of the game early on and put things on the back of his unit control. And they're both actually saving up. Okay, they were just Overlords. I was worried we were going to see 2 9-pools or something. But yeah, Overlords from both of them, so no early pool shenanigans.
Well, the thing is about the series is that the winner of this has the potential of even going on to play against another Zerg in the form of Don Ray Gu, unless Happy is able to kind of thwart that in its entirety. So there could potentially be quite a bit of ZVZ in this group. In fact, there is pretty much
guaranteed to be quite a few ZVZs here.
So we are going to have quite a bit indeed to round things up here for day number 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. And for now, just drones, drones, drones. So cool.
EffOrt versus Don Ray Gu would be a really exciting match if we got to see that. They were actually one of the first two, like one of the first matches from the introduction of the KESPA players, where the GSL players were playing against the KESPA players for the first time in some tournament. Yeah. They played each other and was one of the best CVCs to date. EffOrt was just amazing Ling Bang control on that. So that'd be a fun rematch there. And we do see a pool first from EffOrt versus a hatch first from KingkOng, so a bit of a build advantage for KingkOng. Just getting a couple extra drones out, have his 2 queens around the same time, but that early hatchery, in my opinion, is a pretty big advantage. Some players don't really care about it too much. They're pretty okay with pool first. I think hatch first is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's with the pool going down first as well. There is the argument of you get the queens out a little quicker, so you can start lava injecting. But the advantage of that hatchery already being down there first is, of course, you do have access straight to those minerals a little bit quicker. So it's a nice little thing here for KingkOng. He's adding on his gas as well, whilst we see no gas just yet for EffOrt. Oh. Well,
I wouldn't have been too surprised if he went for a gasless. On this map in particular, gasless openings are very strong because the Overlord actually can't get into the main to scout the gas timings. So the biggest problem, in my opinion, with the gasless openings is that it can be punished by early speedlings. But if you don't get to scout them, then that's just a complete shot in the dark, and most Zergs aren't going to be willing to take that kind of risk. But we do see a gas come down from EffOrt just a little bit late, and the fact that it is a bit later kind of compensates for the economy loss with a hatch first. So they're going to be pretty much on par with that. Just KingkOng with a little bit earlier earlier speedling, earlier baneling nest. But shouldn't be too much of a big deal unless someone goes for a Ling Bane timing, and obviously that would be KingkOng here, given that he would have access to the timing earlier.
Yeah. Well, now we've seen that these Overlords have pretty much spotted exactly the timings of the naturals, and EffOrt knows that he's playing against some kind of hatch
first play. KingkOng actually running his Overlord right next to the Queen.
That's quite tricky.
He can get it away, but that was kind of close. Depending on where the Queen was and where the Overlord went in, that was kind of strange.
I was kind of surprised, because, you know, after seeing the hatchery timing, you know that the spawning pool's going to be down, and then you know what time the Queen's going to be out. So a little bit risky, but all is good in the end. We do have the speed on the way for both players, again a little bit quicker for KingkOng, but things are just lining up to kind of go nicely into the later stages of this game. But EffOrt's actually still mining gas, whereas KingkOng is only mining with one drone. So
that's quite interesting and a little bit unusual. It's going to delay his Baneling nest by a lot. It could mean that he's going for just like a Speedling all-in, depending on, because he's about to have Larva injects pop, and he actually killed off that. Did he kill an Overlord, or did he just push it back? I wasn't really watching. His Queen was out there pushing back the Overlords and denying vision, which makes me think he might be going for a Speedling. No. He's building quite a few drones. He's getting a Baneling nest. So he just took those drones off the gas to get a little bit extra mineral income for a little bit. He didn't really feel like he needed a Baneling nest immediately against the pool first opening, which is a pretty good judgment call. He also got a third Queen out with that additional income he had. So that's going to give him creep spread. And creep spread, usually not too big of a deal in ZVZ, but obviously if you're going some kind of roach opening and you're playing against mutas or something, you need that mobility, and you need the creep spread to be able to get spore crawlers down, something like that. So the fact that he went for that early on could seem, oh wow, he's making a lot of Zerglings, so he is going to go for some kind of low timing here. But Baneling nest already completed for EffOrt, and he has a Spine Crawler coming down as well.
There's two Banelings being morphed in, for EffOrt over the other side. So they're actually in more of an aggressive position, but this aggression, this very small aggression that we're seeing from EffOrt is going to get shut down instantly.
It will give him scouting information, and those Banelings could still... Oh, no, he did manage to take one Baneling down, so good control from him. It's not going to do much, but this reveals what he was going for. It reveals the fact that he wanted to go for a big Zergling attack easily in time for EffOrt to be able to shut it down. And he made more than 26 Zerglings. That's a lot of drones, a lot of larvae he wasted there.
Yeah, and right now drone counts were sitting at 37 for EffOrt against 24 for KingkOng. So KingkOng needs to do something with these Zerglings to make them worthwhile. There's already the Banelings morphing in, and they're positioning themselves on the ramp, but a few do sneak up already. He has to be careful with this Zergling control. There's two Banelings looking for the kills, but KingkOng's control so far has been really, really good. Yeah,
he really nicely avoided the Banelings. He never gave EffOrt the opportunity to get a good explosion off. The second Spine Crawler's coming down. That's not really going to matter at all. It's honestly pretty unnecessary. He could cancel it at this point. Oh, big Baneling hit cleans up most of the Zerglings. So that accomplished almost nothing besides scaring EffOrt a little bit. And he does manage to cancel the Spine Crawler, so he even saves the income from that.
And still, EffOrt with that drone lead. So it's 44 to 39 as KingkOng did start droning off the back of that. So the compensation there for EffOrt was the fact that, well, for KingkOng even was the fact that EffOrt did have to produce a few units to deal with that in the end, and that bought him some time to catch up. But the layers now on the way for EffOrt, and he took all 4 gases as well. So we could see... is there the likelihood of a Spire here from EffOrt?
Yeah, this definitely looks like just a normal straight 2-base muta build. His third base is coming down, and if we look over at KingkOng, he actually just has Carapace going, and he hasn't even started a lair yet. So he is definitely going for Roach. Maybe, actually, no, he's going to go for a lot of Ling harassment, and then into later lair and Roach. But if these Lings are shut down, and they very well could be, it's going to be a pretty tough position for him because those mutas are going to get out, and he's not going to have much of a response. He's just going to lose map control completely. And EffOrt has a fast third base coming, so not even that much of an economic advantage for KingkOng.
I mean, it feels to me like the +1 Carapace is more for a prolonged kind of earlier game, just to deal with, Baneling explosions and not really killing Zergling in one shot. But right now, I mean, how well does that really work against the Spire? It's not going to do a whole lot, right?
Well, I mean, it's even too late. It's not going to really kick in until EffOrt has already... Although, KingkOng did win the little battle over there, and he is taking down that third hatchery. Oh, EffOrt was making drones. He miscalculated how many Lings. So they're going to trade their third bases, and in this position, that favors the muta player, because the muta player is looking to keep things kind of hectic, try and keep them off guard.
Yeah.
However, the big thing is here, if KingkOng can keep rallying Zerglings at him, and EffOrt doesn't stabilize, maybe that goes in KingkOng's favor. But with that Spine Crawler there, with pretty limited Zergling count, I don't think that's too big a deal. We do see a lot of Zerglings coming across the map, though.
Dude, EffOrt's controlling his opponent's third base so well. The drones keep going, and he just keeps killing them off. Now, these Zerglings and Banelings that are swinging forwards for KingkOng have to get something done, otherwise that Spire is about to finish up. And again, there's still no lair right for KingkOng, so he's just purely stuck on this.
Oh no, he does have the lair finished, but he hasn't made a Hydra Den or anything yet. Whoop. And pretty big Baneling hits there. He did lose the last Baneling, and these Zerglings should be cleaned up. So still a pretty good economic lead for EffOrt, and he has that Spire out with his third hatchery already on the way. So EffOrt really has dealt with his aggression quite well.
It's just Lings all the way here for KingkOng as he continues to try and put on the pressure, even going for the melee upgrades for those Lings as well. But right now, those drones are attacking the Are they attacking the Baneling nest?
Yes, they are.
Sick. All right. Well.
That was just a show of confidence from EffOrt.
It's like, my drones are so strong, I don't care about these lings. I'll just do whatever I want. And, well, they're actually adding on the infestation pit. You know, he realizes that the Spire is there. He wants to try and counter this with fungal growths, but how well is that going to work? Because the Mutalisks are already out and about.
Yeah, the problem with that is it becomes pretty hard to take your third from behind when you're going Infestor, just because they're pretty immobile and they're easily negated with good control. Although that early creep spread from KingkOng is going to pay off here. He's going to have a Spore Crawler up out at the third base. So once these mutas can get aggressive, it will still be possible for him to hold on to that third. And that is going to end up giving him a faster third than EffOrt has. So he has Infestors scale into the mid-late game better than the mutas do. So if he really holds on here and just capitalizes on that economic advantage, it could turn into something. He does have the upgrade advantage in the tech. But with these Zerglings getting in here, there's no anti-ground. And EffOrt's just going to be able to control KingkOng's unit movement with his mutas and take out that third base, potentially. That's what he's looking to do here. But at the same time, KingkOng's counterattacking. Just a handful of lings, though, not going to do anything.
And Roach Warren even goes down here for EffOrt as well. So he's looking to transition completely out of this. And, well, Queens, unfortunately, really not doing too much there against those Mutalisks. They have to run away. It's going to be hard for KingkOng to really do anything in that third base. Does he even have any Spore Crawlers to run over there?
He does have one Spore up at the third, and he has a half-health Queen there.
Okay.
So it's not going to die, but he's not going to be able to mine from there. Actually, he does have another Spore coming over. With that, he will be able to mine. He also has Infestors in production now and additional Queens, but a lot of Zerglings coming across the map. Actually, Zerglings crossing each other without seeing each other in the middle of the map. Looks like they might trade thirds here.
Maybe. There's a lot of those Zerglings actually swinging forwards, as you rightly mentioned. He's going to focus down those Spore Crawlers and leave it open to those Mutalisks completely. So very, very good decision-making there by EffOrt. Meanwhile, over on the right-hand side, well, that expansion is going to fall. The Baneling's not enough to deal with that, but the Mutalisks left completely free to do whatever they want over here.
Lots of Lings and Infestors coming out, and KingkOng does have them much stronger. I believe he has a 1-1 now on the Zerglings.
Yes, he does, yeah.
Whereas 0 upgrades at all for EffOrt. So Ling versus Ling, KingkOng is just going to be incredibly efficient, but the mutas will be enough to take down this hatchery. So but lots of Zerglings in the main of EffOrt at the same time, killing off drones. And this is actually kind of starting to swing in KingkOng's favor, because EffOrt has switched to Roaches, and in the ground versus ground battle, KingkOng has the upgrade advantage and the tech advantage, given that he already has the Infestors out.
Yeah.
And of course the upgrade advantage we already mentioned. So this, KingkOng, he was in kind of an uncomfortable situation when the mutas came out, but he's really made the best of it with these Zerglings attacks.
It's a very, very scrappy game right now, as KingkOng's just trying to keep his opponent back where he can. The Mutalisks still finding little avenues to get in, but now with the Infestors out and the ability to fungal growth, he has to be very, very careful about, otherwise that might happen. He needs to just chain that down, and then that's going to alleviate any kind of pressure that would be continuing on from these mutas.
And that he was actually a little sloppy there. He didn't chain the fungals perfectly, or he would have gotten all those. Instead, they all escape and they'll go regen to full health. But more Zerglings running into the main. EffOrt just constantly getting caught by these little counterattacks. And those 1-1 Lings are so efficient. But at the same time, a Roach attack coming in from EffOrt. That's constant aggression here. And he burned all of the fungals, all of the mana on the Infestors to try and kill those mutas, so he has no real response to this.
Oh, just barely saving that third as well from those Zerglings. It's such a sad story for those Infestors trying to get those Mutalisks, man, because they put in so much effort. Oh, and he actually finds some of these Infestors in turn with the Roaches. If he can kill off a few of those, then that would be fantastic here. He's just trying to trade unit for unit. KingkOng pulls off all the drones, realizing he's in trouble, and EffOrt will pull back.
He's actually just going to realize that KingkOng hasn't even rebuilt the third and killed that one lone Infestor. So the game has swung back into EffOrt's favor.
Doing a lot here. Army supply severely in favor of EffOrt, and the Mutalisks are still there.
And he's about to lose 7 Overlords for free. There's no real anti-air from KingkOng here.
Dear.
And that might be the nail in the coffin there.
And that really shows and exemplifies exactly how important it is to get those fungals just right on those Mutalisks if you get the opportunity to. As EffOrt continues to plow on forwards, KingkOng has nothing to answer for this. EffOrt even has +1 on these Roaches. And when it comes to the mid-game, I mean, those melee upgrades are they're not even present here for KingkOng. So all of that investment right now, completely worthless. EffOrt is doing an absolute number on KingkOng.
Yep, and he has broken into the natural. No units left. Constant units streaming across the map from EffOrt. He has his third base. That doesn't even really matter at this point. And that's looking like the end of it.
There you go. GG. Game number 1 goes to EffOrt after quite a back-and-forth game, I would say. Really.
Very back and forth. KingkOng actually had a very good chance at winning that in the the later portions of the game. He just didn't quite switch to the roaches quite fast enough, and then the usage of the fungals, not even killing the mutas, but even if he had killed the mutas, he really needed that infestor mana to keep himself alive. I don't think he realized that EffOrt was really switching to a hard roach attack just in time. If he had, I feel like he definitely could have defended it, but he just needed to commit to it. A very, very scrappy back and forth game. And usually scrappy back and forth games favor the upgrade Ling player because they're just so good at getting into places and doing very cost-efficient damage. But EffOrt really kept his wits about him and traded well despite that.
Yeah, even the first trades for those Lings that got in for KingkOng didn't really do what they wanted to. But now we can go on to our second map, which would be Belshire Vestige here between these two guys. EffOrt one game away from advancing to play either against Donregu or Happy. I think Happy in general in this group, it's weird because whilst he only has one matchup to play for, it's against people like EffOrt and Donregu. It's going to be a very tough group, I would say, for Happy, despite what we said about him previously, which was he always silently gets to the top 8, does pretty well for himself, but never really gets the full recognition that he deserves for that.
And the tournaments where he just quietly gets to the top 8 tends to be like WCSUU, which, I mean, obviously a very strong tournament, but you're still not playing against Koreans, and people like EffOrt and Donregu could be amongst the top Koreans. Performance-wise, not necessarily, but there's a lot of Koreans in Korea who you just don't hear from because they haven't happened to make their break in a tournament yet. They are still of the same caliber as the Code S players. So it's definitely going to be a tough group for anyone, but in this case, for Happy.
Yeah, certainly so. All right, game number 2. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner as our red Zerg, he is CJ enters EffOrt. And down to the bottom right, we have our blue Zerg. He is Team Avantgarde's KingkOng.
Last game opening up with a hatch first versus a pool first for KingkOng. Didn't end up mattering too much either way. And looks like they're both saving up for Overlords at 9 again, so normal builds once more.
Yep, no earlier pools just yet. I'm
kind of surprised. I would have expected at least one 10 pool from EffOrt. And especially when you're up 1-0 in a series, that's often a great time to throw in a cheese and mess with your opponent. Because even if it loses, you go into the third game, you've just equalized and you just messed with their head.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, he's saving up. Oh no, okay, sorry. I was looking at that a little bit bizarrely there, but as you can see, both of them just droning up and continuing on normally. So we haven't seen any huge mid games from ZVZs yet. But then again, we haven't watched all the ZVZs today. So we saw the starting there of just kind of going into the roaches in this first game, but generally, I'm not a big fan of infestors on Derelict Watcher because of the way in which the concaves work in the middle of the map. Normally on like a map like this, where you're like attacking up ramps and stuff like that, the roaches are generally going to clump up quite nicely. But on a map like Derelict Watcher, when they have so much room to spread out, I don't think fungals work as well on that.
Just in general, really, I don't like opening up with infestors unless you secure 3 bases and you're playing against Muta. Then I think you can go both Hydra and Infestor, and you can just get them out early enough that you can do a timing attack. But just generally speaking, I don't feel infestors actually do enough to justify them being a rush tech in ZVZ. Their DPS just isn't what it used to be, and it used to be absolutely fantastic against roaches. Now, not so much. I feel like Roach Hydra significantly better. Maybe Swarm Host opening, Muta opening is obviously still really strong, but Fast Infestor, I don't think it should be a thing ZVZ anymore.
So I've got to ask there then, in ZVZ, if we see something like EffOrt kind of used in game number 1, if you were in KingkOng's position, what would you rather do in that?
The only thing he really needed to do there was have a little bit more static defense at his third, like have one Spine Crawler there. I think he wins the game.
Yeah.
Because if you secure that third, when you're putting good, effective pressure on your opponent with upgraded Lings, and you're getting into your mid-game tech, and you have roaches out and whatnot, if he secures that third, he's in a very, very good position there. And going Infestors just to hold on against Mutas when you have an economic advantage is fine, because then you're just trying to keep yourself alive until the economy kicks in.
Yeah.
Their Hydras or Infestors are both pretty okay. All he really had to do was hold on to that. But when you let the game get scrappy, then anything can happen.
All right. Well, no gas has actually been taken here for either player, so no speed on the way, and thus not really too much opportunity to be very, very aggressive as they just transition on and transition down to their naturals. And just adding on a few queens. We only have, well, KingkOng's going up to 3 queens right now. And adding on 2 gases at the same time.
Yeah, that's really fast from him. EffOrt going for like a pure gasless opening. He's going to head up. He's going to get the building wall in. He's going to be building up for a big mineral-heavy economy early on, and then go into probably double upgrades, maybe single upgrade and a fast layer, but roaches one way or the other. Whereas with KingkOng, I don't know, it's actually really weird going for double gas that early. I'm not sure what that's going to mean. This may just be like a shortcut to lair, like you delay the gases, get a little more minerals early on, then get double gas to compensate and get up to the tech at the same timing. But I haven't actually seen anything like this before, and we see a double gas from EffOrt, maybe in response, maybe just part of his normal build.
Well, we'll see what's going on here. The 2 queens down here means that he definitely will get that Overlord, as there's, again, no Zerglings and no speed on the map to really reinforce anything like that. So KingkOng gets supply blocked for just a little bit. But obviously did start another Overlord in response to seeing those 2 queens berating his Overlord. So speed is now on the way for KingkOng, and I guess he could get an Evolution Chamber very quickly and start some upgrades, but he'd be missing the timing for that. So
yes, it's already too late, but he has just put it into a lair, so it looks like it will just be a 2-base muted build off of a slightly quirky little opening early on. Really smart of EffOrt there to send out those queens, because he was going to have them anyway. They're part of his build, and with that Zergling Scout, he knows that they're not going to get punished, so might as well just walk out there and kill off that Overlord. Smart by him, and no tech commitment from EffOrt just yet. His gases were late enough. I'm almost positive it's going to be upgrades and ground units, but almost definitely a muted build from KingkOng. Now, actually, with that third gas coming down, maybe EffOrt. Nope, double Evo goes down, and KingkOng basically scouted it. He saw the drones moving into position. You can assume from that.
Yeah, he pretty much is able to infer what's going on. And where's the Baneling nest? I guess it's just more for safety than anything here for EffOrt, unless he wants to hit some massive timing before the before Aspire goes down.
He does only have 3 gases, which is very strange. But he's getting the Evo chambers. It can't be any kind of timing. That would be unless the Evo chambers. Okay, yeah, a Roach Warren. Yeah, his lair is going to be pretty late here, though. It could be problematic, because the big thing is he's not creep spreading out towards his third base. He's being kind of sloppy about that, and you really need that so you can get the spores up and actually defend the third base against the mutas. Although he saw the late gas opening, maybe he's assuming KingkOng isn't going mutas. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird game. But we see a lot of circlings coming out from EffOrt. That could actually be pretty dangerous, because 4 Spinecrawlers coming up now, but Spinecrawler is not amazing against Zerglings. No,
they're going to be able to run past pretty quickly and then just down into the main, unless KingkOng, of course, blocks with those 2 queens on the ramp. But this is, I mean, his Spire is very fast here in relation to what we're seeing out from EffOrt, who just, I mean...
He has not even started a lair yet.
Yeah, so... I'm not sure how well this is going to work out for EffOrt, as it only just starts.
And he's going for Roach upgrades, so it's not going to be any kind of like mass circling all in. And mass circling can sometimes punish really fast muta builds just because you run around and you're just wherever the mutas aren't. But Roach is obviously not going to accomplish that. And Zergling's not going to do anything here. Enough Zerglings on KingkOng's side to defend any kind of aggression. And actually going out and putting on aggression himself.
I mean, it's a ton of roaches that are on the way, and they should be able to deny a lot of damage from being done, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not really, ouch. There's not really a lot of pressure he can put on behind this with the Mutalisks out.
No, if those Zerglings out there, if he had morphed them all into Banelings immediately, maybe you could have done like a Roach Bane all in, but even that, the timing would be pretty iffy. Nice getting the 2 queen kills, though.
Nice focusing the one down that had the most energy as well, so it isn't able to really get the transfuses on its friend, and starts working on the third. 11 Mutalisks on the way.
Yeah, and these Zerglings are going to clear this out. He's going to hold on to that third pretty easily. EffOrt's third coming up. Does have a creep pretty close enough to put up Spore Crawlers, but he's going to have no mobile anti-air. He doesn't really have that many queens. Doesn't even have any Spore Crawlers anywhere just yet. I don't know. These mutas could be pretty scary for EffOrt here.
And he's just going to go straight into that. Oh, Nida Swarm. So he's going to bring all the queens and roaches with him and go for a frontal assault here with 1/1 upgrades.
Oh, it's back behind his natural here. So yeah, that's not likely to get scouted. But KingkOng has pretty good vision. He has an Overlord on top of the only Overlord that's anywhere near his base. I don't know how successful this is going to be. I feel like KingkOng's going to see it no matter where it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, we've obviously seen this quite a bit with just the full committal to the queens to try and shut this down. But in the end, actually, that's so many roaches. It's like, yeah, this is the Mutalisks, and yes, they can do some damage to them, but they don't kill them that fast, the roaches. So there will be some damage done here by the roaches, because there's a few lings on the way.
That many mutas actually kills roaches pretty quick, and he has some lings and queens to absorb damage on the ground. The third base, no damage being done, and there's actually a bunch of Zerglings that just killed off EffOrt's third. So KingkOng really kind of has this game in hand. Yeah, the drones were forced to evacuate from the natural, but they're still pretty alive. Ooh, and a Nidus the Nidus does start in the main of EffOrt, or of KingkOng, but he sees it immediately. He's going to shut it down.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
The thing is that if you were going to use Queens to shut this down, like he's only got 6, which isn't really enough as well to deal with 16 Mutalisks. So, but you were right. You were right about the Mutalisks actually killing them off quite quickly because there were quite a number of them.
And the other Nidus is coming up, but it barely accomplishes anything being there. The Queens will walk slowly forward, and he has a decent amount of transfuses there. But really, just a lot of mutas coming up.
This is a bit weird. Well, we'll see how well this is going to work out. He does have the transfuses, as you mentioned. He's Nidusing in the main as well here, separating up some of these roaches, but
KingkOng's still on top of it. He's going to take that Nidus in the main down as well.
Nicely
doing a
done.
lot of damage to these roaches. And EffOrt, he's pretty all in on this. He's not even rebuilding the third base, and I don't really see it working. That's too many mutas, not enough anti-air DPS.
I suppose what EffOrt's trying to do here is just draw his opponent everywhere and go for these engagements. He needs to transfuse these Queens as effectively as he can do. And he is already keeping that one very, very much alive, but they don't have the DPS to kill off all of these Mutalisks in turn. The Mutalisks are just going to kill off the Queens, and then once they're dead, they'll go to work on the roaches. But whoa, he needs to...
There's not even that many roaches left to do any damage. And there's no transfuses left. Those Queens are sitting ducks as soon as the mutas decide to go deal with them. Taking care of the roaches first. The roaches are the only thing that can actually do any damage, so smart of him. But, I mean, the third did go down, but he traded so much for it. He lost so many units, and he's not EffOrt isn't rebuilding his own third yet. So those mutas are just going to be an ongoing problem, and he doesn't have any economy, any kind of advantage to really fall back on to make up for it.
It's a tough thing here, as, well, that Pathogen Glance is going to finish up in a little bit, but from there on out, he needs that third base. He absolutely does. KingkOng, wait, how many drones do we have out for both players? 46 to 44, but now with the Mutalisks still being 12 in number, they're going to be able to fly around, kill Overlords where they want to. The Zerglings are already denying the third base, so doing all right.
The big thing is they also cleared up the Spore Crawlers from that area, which means the mutas now have complete control of it for quite a while, because without those extra Queens, he can't walk down and defend that. Even once he gets some Infestors up, it's going to be very hard to kill the mutas. We saw last game, chain fungling mutas does not necessarily guarantee they're going to die unless you have something to back it up.
I guess EffOrt's going to try and buy some more time here, as he has still quite a few roaches loaded into that Nidus with him. He actually might have forgotten about them. We'll have to see as this game continues on. God forbid he's actually forgotten about them. That would be a bit of a bad spell for him. But once again, a denial on the third. Trying to get the Spore Crawlers where he can, so he can bring in the Mutalisks later on. But the Zerglings are absolutely... tearing him new one. This is difficult here for EffOrt.
Really good persistence from KingkOng. Unfortunately, he was using his mutas to scout for another Nidus calling down on the bottom left, or he could just stay in there and deny that forever and just prevent Spore Crawlers and whatnot. However, the Spore does get up, another hatchery comes down, the Infestor's there as well. It looks like EffOrt has finally stabilized and is going to hold on to that third base, but KingkOng is already switching into roaches himself. He's got the +1 upgrades, or +2, pardon me, +2 upgrades going, and does he have roach speed just yet? Don't know.
Yes, he does have roach speed.
Not sure how to tell in this.
I'm actually kind of surprised, though, that KingkOng hasn't gone and shut down that Nidus Worm on the right-hand side, because he does know that there is creep there. He has vision of it with an Overlord, so could go kill that.
May not have noticed. He may just not care, because he already has his own roaches out, so if he could bait out an attack, it'd actually be kind of good for him.
Ah, that's a good point.
But I'm not sure. He may just be unaware of it, because that's the kind of thing you go kill no matter what. It's just too dangerous to have that opportunity sitting there for your opponent.
Well, Mutalisks going to keep his opponent dancing still. 2-2 is on the way for EffOrt, which is one of the boons that he would have in this in terms of the carapace. And technically, the Infestors are still there as well. So EffOrt has the building blocks of a very, very strong mid-game composition. But for now, KingkOng's just going to keep him dancing.
If he can secure that third and just hold on to it and not take any more damage, which isn't possible now, he has 3 Queens and a good amount of Infestor mana plus Spores everywhere important. So if he holds on to that, he does have the upgrade advantage, and those Infestors are out, just building up energy, getting stronger and stronger over time. So EffOrt actually in a much better situation than I really expected after seeing that Nidus attack. Taking out the third base really kind of equalized it for him, and KingkOng is actually making way too many drones. If you look at the third base, it's well oversaturated.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He's currently sitting at 66 drones against 54. He separates some of those off back into the mineral lines, but just in general, you are right. That's a little bit oversaturated. And a few roaches do end up engaging, but now for EffOrt, it's nothing but roach production. And with the Mutalisks, sorry, with the Infestors that he has already out and about, I don't think he feels as threatened anymore by these mutas, especially if he just lands one fungal and is able to chain it effectively.
Oh, he's going to go. He's just going to all in through the Nidus again. So leaving that Nidus up is actually turning out to hurt KingkOng a lot. The mutas are there, but if they get fungled, there's enough to kill them off. If they all get caught in one fungal.
That separates them up just a little bit so he can try and take out the Niduswim. He will do, but by the time he gets it, they've all come through anyway. Adding on another Niduswim to reinforce at the front as quickly as possible. Realizing he has the Roach advantage, he lands a few fungal growths to separate, divide and conquer once again. And now EffOrt is really bringing some pain here. He has to land a fungal, does land one or two. Infested Terrans are going to rain down from the skies to kill off some of these Mutalisks as well. Unit counts, we're seeing a huge swell here of Roaches from EffOrt in favor of him. And he's really played out the later stages of this game brilliantly. Yeah,
he's really pushing for that. Not even adding the second and third, the gases at his third base yet. He's almost all in on these Roaches. And the mutas are still there. They're going to slowly keen them up, but just doing so much damage in the meantime. Taking out all the drones at the third base, taking down the Roach Warren at the front, so KingkOng cannot produce any more Roaches at this point.
That's a scary place to be, man, when you've got 43 Roaches poised up against you. The Queens are going to go down. A lot of the production from there on will be stifled here for KingkOng, and he's being hit at every single base and doesn't have enough units to clean anything up. EffOrt is playing this ZVZ out brilliantly.
KingkOng forced to produce more mutas, which is not what he's looking for here. There's not really a whole lot he can do with those. EffOrt's completely set up to defend at home. He's also now filling out the drone count at his third base. He's completely ready to go into the mid and late game, and KingkOng not even going to make him do that.
GG. EffOrt takes the series 2-0. KingkOng had opportunities there. It really did feel like he had opportunities to transition on and do well, but that Niduswim, man, he got over there so quick.
Yeah, it ended up being a very big mistake not to take out that Nidus, because EffOrt was really going hard on that mid-game attack. He didn't have the gases at his third base, like I mentioned. He wasn't producing any Hydras, which meant that the mutas, ideally, the mutas gave him a lot of map control still. It's really hard to walk across the map with just Infestors and Queens. So had he taken out that Nidus, he could have controlled the game. He could have fallen back on a superior economy, and eventually he would get up Hydras and a superior army as well. So everything really came down to that Nidus still being up there and EffOrt being able to make that attack so very quickly.
Yeah, it was a very impressive play there by EffOrt, able to recover from a good situation. But as said, you know, we even point out that KingkOng there was a slither of creep that he did see from that Niduswim. Yeah. So just missed it, I guess, in the end. But then he does end up falling, and now he's going to play KingkOng is going to play the loser of either Donregu or Happy, whilst Mr. EffOrt will play the winner in this group, in Group B. So guys, we shall go to a short break, and then when we're back, we'll have more StarCraft action from the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore.
Professional-grade communication tool. The choice of professional teams. Perfect stream viewing experience. chosen by online streamers. Easy to use voice messenger service, chosen by over 12 million gamers.
Communication is always vital when competing in tournaments. Winning a match requires perfect coordination. You cannot win by yourself.
Raid Call, communication for winners.
guys, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore as we now head straight into the fray of Group B. We've already had one series from it, and now we have the second. It's going to be Happy versus Dongraegu. A bit of a TVZ here. It's one of my favorite matchups. Happy to be casting it alongside you. You like it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I was just telling Idra actually that apart from Protoss matchups, it's probably my favorite matchup.
Yeah.
It's my 4th out of 6 matchups. Actually, this is because I'm Protoss. Like you have to favor the matchups you know the most. But I think for a lot of people in general that play StarCraft, it's probably their favorite matchup just because it's so action-packed and there is always stuff happening. It's very spectator-friendly, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But, and especially, I mean, Happy versus Dongraegu here. As much as Happy is not necessarily the guy that will try to attack all the time, depending on his mood and all that, Dongraegu is. Dongraegu is somebody who's going to go for Mutas a lot of the time. He's going to try to fly in, do some damage, make something happen all the time, and that's very good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people considered Dongraegu's TVZ to be where he gathered his resurgence as of late. We saw him defeating people like Innovation in WCS Season 3 in Korea. And then ever since then, he's actually beaten Flash as well, as we saw that. I think it was during Intel Extreme Masters New York, actually, wasn't it, that we saw Dongraegu versus Flash. But regardless, he has a lot of strength in the matchup.
What happened to his hat?
Oh.
Maybe the one time he was trying to be special and wearing a hat, he had Spider here next to him. He's like, I'm never doing anything like that anymore. And then he loses to Spider after the ceremony.
Yeah, man, he lost to Spider Hyun. That was slightly embarrassing. No, I'm joking. But yeah, the hat, I think the hat had to go. I think the hat was his girlfriend's. Cause he was there with his girlfriend, and she had the hat, and then she gave him it. Maybe it was for good luck, but now he doesn't have the hat. I'm under the impression that doesn't...
No bunny ears either.
No bunny ears, no. So no hats, no bunny ears here for Dongraegu. It's serious Dongraegu that's turned up.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I mean, we have 2 players that probably never played together before, or not that I know of. That's obviously don't play that against each other because they live in different regions. And now, I mean, stylistically, as I say, Dongraegu, he likes to go for mutas, he likes to make stuff happen, like move around the map. He's very good defensively, offensively as well. He's macro, one of the best out there. He's always been one of the best Zerg versus Terran player, in my opinion. There was a time he even claimed himself that he thought he was the best in the world in this matchup. Whereas, on the other hand, you have somebody like Happy. He's not your typical Terran. As much as he's going to play standard sometimes, he also has kind of his own touch in his build orders. Sometimes he can play mech as well too. Yeah. Keep that in mind. Happy can play mech. Are we going to see mech here out of him? That's possible.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the thing about Happy is that me and Greg spoke about it previously, is that he silently gets to the top 8 of pretty much every tournament he ever plays in. And that was kind of epitomized recently when it comes to Home Story Cup. He was one of the top foreigners at Home Story Cup.
Don't remind me.
And then no offense. And, you know, we saw him go toe-to-toe with Spider Hyun. So he went 3-2, 2-3 in fact, as Happy did end up losing that series. But, you know, he took him to the brink. So Happy can do it, but can he do it against Dongraegu, who I think this is by far Dongraegu's strongest matchup. And he beats the best of them.
Yeah. Who do you think is better right now, EffOrt or Dongraegu? Versus Terran or
versus
in general?
Terran. That's
EffOrt has been very impressive. I think we have. You know, I think we have to wait until this series finishes to decide who's playing better, and then even then, like they are still gonna have to possibly play against each other. But right now, EffOrt has been very impressive. Now my question is Dongraegu going to be as impressive in this series as EffOrt has been so far in this tournament? I guess we're gonna find out.
EffOrt's looked good, man. He's really looked good. And, well, can Dongraegu shine as bright as he can? But at the same time, we shouldn't discount Happy at all. He somehow, some way finds the opportunity to get to those top positions in tournaments. But this is a tough one. This is a really, really tough tournament. The round of 16 is absolutely stacked. And Happy qualifying through the European region, it's not quite as difficult as it would be to qualify through the Korean region or through this open bracket.
And also, you know, I ask is Dongraegu as impressive as EffOrt, but we haven't seen Dongraegu yet in this tournament. Yep. This is the first match he's going to play here. I guess the last we saw him was in New York, where he had a very strong showing, but ended up losing to Spider Hyun. And Whereas EffOrt, we just saw yesterday in the open bracket, we saw him today as well. He's been playing very, very well. So now let's see what Dongregu can bring up to the table.
Let's indeed. As we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner, our Red Terran, representing, well, Europe, to be honest with you. He is Empire happy. They also have Grubby here, I guess. And spawning down the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg, representing MVP. It is Dongregu.
Dongregu. I like to call him the original Dong, but then somebody was like,
uh-oh.
Did you just do that?
Uh-oh. I don't know if you want to anger the Dong fans.
The old school Dong.
Yeah. Well, he's been one of my favorite Zergs for a long time. Ever since there was a lot of hype buzzing around about him in the Korean scene when nobody had seen him in GSL, but everyone was like, he's top of ladder, he's top of ladder, he's the best Zerg ever. I was like, oh, okay, then I guess he's the best Zerg ever. And then he came along and he actually proved that he was one of the best Zergs ever. So I was like, oh, okay then. So yeah, I like Dongregu a lot. But I also like Happy a lot. He doesn't really get, you know, the massive amount of fans that we see from other European personalities and stuff like that. But Happy, what he does is he turns up and he never gives you a shoddy performance. He always does well to the standards of Europeans, but never gets that extra step on to get into the finals and the wins.
Happy is looking, actually, he looks very mean when he's playing.
Oh yeah, man. He's focused.
It's a little bit quite scary. I'm a little bit surprised that Dongregu scouts for 2 racks in the first game. A lot of the time, I feel like, depending on who you're playing against, you have to evaluate how likely it is that they will go for something like a 2 racks. And I'm sorry, but Happy doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that will go for 2 racks very often there. So I feel like there is a very little chance this will happen, but maybe Dongregu is like, the only way I can lose to these guys with something like that. So I'm just going to scout for it, and then if he doesn't go for it, I'm just going to beat him in a regular game, even though I have mined a little bit less minerals in the start. He's actually done a pretty good job with that drone, removing some hit points from that SCV here.
No. And again, we only need hark back to in the previous season of WCS Korea, where we saw Dongregu taking some fantastic games off Innovation himself. So it's going to be a tall order here for Happy to defeat Dongregu. If Dongregu plays to his best, again, this is his first game of the tournament. We haven't seen how he's performing so far. So this series will be really telling, because Dongregu is like, for me, he's like always champion caliber. So if he brings his A game,
yeah, I agree,
then he's in for contention at least.
And Happy, I was trying to talk to him a little bit before this match happened here, trying to get some information on how he was going into this match. And he wasn't really talkative, to say the least. He wasn't really saying anything, and then suddenly he said, I just played him in ladder. He kind of giggled. So I was like, what does this laugh mean? Like, what do you mean? And apparently he won. He played Dongregu on ladder and he won just during his warm-up before this match here. So I was asking him if this gave him a little bit more confidence. Did he think he was going to win? He told me he thinks Dongregu is probably a better player than him, but he definitely thinks he can win here. I mean, somebody who practices as much as Happy, even if sometimes you're going to lack confidence going against a very strong player, confidence doesn't really matter at this point. You're just looking to play your A game, play what you've practiced a lot, and if Happy is able to do that here, I think he's going to have a good shot at winning.
Well, he certainly could do. Happy's always got himself into some interesting situations and has prevailed in the past. Again, we only need to think back to the Home Story Cup, where we saw him almost defeating Hyun, unfortunately falling to the 1 map in the best of 5, and thus it being 3-2 in favor of Hyun. But for now, double gas goes down for Dongregu, adding on plenty of drones. He's feeling pretty comfortable at his position so far. These 5 Marines for Happy, it's not often that you see them move out this far. I guess he's looking for an Overlord or something, but not going to find anything.
Hoping to get lucky, hoping maybe to force some units.
Huh. Yeah, I guess.
Dongregu didn't even see it, so he's not going to react for now. Is it possible to get a cancel on that hatchery?
He's only got queens.
The sickest timing? He arrives as it starts.
This actually
but
is
the queens
brilliant.
are going to take forever to get there.
Yeah, exactly. They can't get there.
Maybe he knew that base goes up at like 6 minutes, and he gets the cancel, and he's going to get the drone too, possibly.
All right, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool from Happy.
Just pretty cool. It's freaking amazing, man. That timing. Dongregu had no idea this was coming. You know, he's even losing a crit too right there.
He like snaked around the map. And
snaked?
Yeah, he was like he was slithering along through these little paths and then found his way there. It was pretty impressive. Well, behind this man we have was that 2 tech lab? Oh, it was just 1 tech lab and 1 reactor.
They're in a weird position, those barracks, by the way. Is he trying to hide them so that they don't get scouted? it does look like Dongregu is going to be able to see possibly one of them, maybe even two.
If he didn't see them, then he would be
Oh,
anticipating
he's turning towards the right.
Okay, I think he's anticipating.
Oh, he sees one.
Okay, right.
And this is huge. Yeah, Dongregu knows exactly what could be thrown. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Baneling nest being made here so that he can defend against this. Happy was basically saying that also he knows that Dongregu really likes to play Mutas, Zerg, Baneling, Mutas, and not Roaches. So is he trying to do something that only will be countered very well by Roaches here, you think?
I think what he was doing was like just hiding something that was like kind of normal, right? Like if he'd have gone in there and not seen those barracks, then he'd have been like, oh well, you've got a third CC somewhere or something like that. Whereas he sees it and it's like, oh, he's got confirmation that it is just those barracks, and the Hellions are just going to continue to press on. So
that scan in the main saw absolutely nothing, by the way, except the lair, which I guess can most of the time here mean that there is no Roach Warren unless... I feel like it's unlikely it will be in the expansion. Then again, I'm no TVZ expert. Not gonna pretend otherwise, but I feel like the lair timing here that ISA will mean Mutas more often than not. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I'd be surprised if Dongregu went anything but Ling Bei Muta in this matchup right now, unless he saw someone going for like full-blown mech very early on, and then he commits more to Roaches and ranged upgrades. But well, we're gonna see how Dongregu wants to deal with this. His micro and control, and just in general in these fights, is normally impeccable, as the Mutalisks will be on the way soon. And well, Happy's going to need to establish himself a third base and then start pushing on, but he's already mixing Marauders in, so if the Banelings connect to those...
Oh, that Zergling is trying to get the info of that army, because Dongregu, he really lacks vision right now. He only has one Overlord outside the base of Happy. I'm not sure he saw those units moving out. So now he has to start getting ready, and 10 Banelings on the way. This is really going to help here.
Oh yeah, definitely. But again, he has to be careful about not connecting with Marauders, that if Happy's microing correctly, will leave those at the front and not and just micro everything else away.
By the way, that creep thread is ridiculous. It's forcing so many scans from Happy here. And I mean, look, he has to step on creep now. Even if he scans and kill the tumors, those units are still going to be very fast.
Especially without the centrifugal hooks. It's important here for Dongregu to connect with these Banelings. But just look at that. Some of the Marauders did soak up some Banelings there, but it didn't really save too much to be able to continue this assault.
That was a pretty nice surround here, but somehow Happy comes out on top here with very few units. He has many vacs to pick those units up and leave behind this if he wants to. 34 Zerglings on the way, 3 Banelings as well. And I don't know why, but when this just happened, the surround from behind with the units, that Destiny Baneling analogy came back to my mind, with the Zerglings holding the army in two places.
Ah, yes. That one.
Yes.
That one. Well, yeah, the third command center is going down. Double evolution bays. Whatever. Double engineering bays. Gets there in the end.
Revolutionizing the meta.
It's all of the races in one, guys. But
7 Mutas on the way. That's going to be pretty important in shutting down this drop here very, very soon. Oh, some of them finished already, but not all of them.
How many is he going to be able to get? Well, he's already positioned well nicely for it.
How many Marines were in those medivacs? 4 or 5?
Not many.
Yeah, he could actually chase this down with his Mutas now.
Yeah. Oh, well, he gets an Overlord at least, so he does supply block Dongregu for a second here, whilst there's 2 Overlords finished.
Supply blocks him at 40 supply above himself.
Yeah. Well, for now, what do we have on? The 3 Overlords coming out here just to clear up a little bit of room. 64 drones to 51. So Dongregu from this point can just make units, and then start dealing with this. But Happy's not being too aggressive with his bio play. So giving a Zerg this amount of room, I'm kind of scared for Happy.
Yeah. I really like how Dongregu is not slowing down with his creep spread, by the way. He instantly resumed it after defecting this first push from, well, I guess you can call it the second push, with those 5 Marines in the start. But Dongregu doing a very good job of everything so far. His macro is impeccable. He's getting his upgrades going. They weren't the fastest 1-1 you could ever start, but he's upgrading his Mutas now as well. He's getting overload speed so that his Overseers can go around very quickly too.
In my mind, this is something that we just don't really see too much in the highest level TVZ, which is the Zerg putting the pressure onto the Terran at this particular window of time. Because right now, Happy should be flourishing with his macro and then starting the parade push. But Donregu's feeling very, very comfortable here, enough to split his units up and start pressuring on either side.
Oh wow! And there's actually not much in the third base of Happy here. If those Zerglings and Banelings were to attack, they could do quite some damage. I guess they would force the command center to lift, but killing some SCVs here will be very important. He's already ahead, quite ahead on walkers. Look at the production time, 9 more drones on the way. They just finished. Now we have 78 drones to 62 SCVs. And Dongregu he almost has his 4th base finished.
And well, there's only 7 Marines in production. How many barracks does he have?
Oh, the gas income, man.
Yeah.
This is very scary. When a Zerg takes 8 gases, right now he's only on 6, but when they take 8. I play Protoss, but I think and it's about as strong.
I think Happy's macro is slipping here. I mean, I don't want to be too critical of him, but some of his barracks aren't producing. He's not got Marines on the way. He has to deal with this push, but he needs also to pile on pressure as well. He loses the bunker. He's going to lose a lot what's here. He will push this away, yes, but those Banelings...
Yeah, Dongregu threw away a lot of units here to do some damage. Not all that much damage, but Happy definitely not going to be too unhappy with what just happened. Like, this might actually trigger a counter-attack here. He has a lot of bioforces. He didn't lose any army during this. He just lost some SCV. And those mutas, they're going to try start doing their work here. Dongregu's going to fly all around the map and start... He's basically going to force Happy to stay in his base. And
this, yeah, exactly. It buys him so much time to do whatever he wants back at home. If Dongregu wants to, he has the gas available to him to then transition onto Infestation Pit and then Hive if he wants. But he doesn't even need to do that if he doesn't want to. He can just go Ling, Bane, Muta and still do a lot of damage in turn. Happy.
Oh, it was upgrading something. The tech lab. Not sure what, but it was upgrading something here, and this was cancelled.
It will have been drilling claws. It has to have been drilling claws. So that's actually a big hit there to him. As now the Mutalists just keeping all of this back and again buying so much time,
Did Dongregu forget about Tutu on his Zerglings? He hasn't started it. I think he's been spending all of his gas on Mutas and getting some Banelings at home to be safe. And also, I mean, he hasn't been creep spreading as much recently because he was across the map harassing. Since he's on 200 army here, wouldn't it be good to attack, trade, and then basically remax and try and finish the game?
I mean, he could do.
He has so much army supply
here anyway. That's a huge army he has once again, but going to fall back for a second here. I think he may have forgot Tutu. Ooh, has to be careful about where he goes with this. Good splits by Happy. Very good splits, actually. Fantastically done. Tutu's about to finish up after this engagement has concluded. But great control by Happy despite being down in terms of supply.
And don't you think it would have been a lot better if he had waited a little bit more? Because Tutu was about to finish for Happy. Just finished just now. He lost like a huge portion of his army. Dongregu was already maxed. Happy could have caught up in army supply, plus had Tutu in that fight if he had waited just like 20 seconds more.
Well, for now, we're going to see Dongregu once again still hold Happy back. These missile turrets, I mean, they're good, they buy time, but they're not going to really work out for too long. And Drilling Claws is on the way. I think, as you said, Dongregu did forget Tutu. He's got the Hive on the way, but like when that finishes, he'll be like, right, time to get 3-3. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to get 2-2 and all my other transitions, which is General Useless Cavern.
This is getting very important here. If Dongregu is not able to finish Happy soon, and doesn't start 2-2, I mean, if he faces Happy with 1-1 versus 3-3, this is not even going to be close here. I know that his Cloud of Mutas is very strong and he's using it well, but it cannot do everything in the end. And Happy is starting to set up some great defense on his 3rd base as well.
And there we go, 2-2 starts as the Hive finished. So there is that indication that he did indeed forget that there, as it could have started a lot earlier.
Look at Dongregu's face. He made a special face for a second here after he started 2-2.
Well, the Mutalists are still doing their job very well. Whoa. Widow Mines has to be careful. Woo! Infez panicked as well, I think.
Calm down, Santa.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, the cancellation of that expansion down to the bottom right. Not too bad there for Happy. But the Mutalists could just fly back there and kill that off.
Yeah, I think Dongregu, he really wants to be more aggressive now. He wants to trade his army because he's already maxed out. He's getting the Ultralis Cavern behind this. He's getting the Greatest Spire as well. But he doesn't want to attack into burrowed Widow Mines and a good concave, a good setup by the Terran. So he's going to be a little bit patient until Happy makes a mistake and moves in the middle of the map. Now Dongregu is going to catch him off guard.
Oh, those Widow Mines might even have backfired there for Happy. He lost a lot of the Marines to the splash damage of those, and now he really has very little army supply. It's 115 army supply against 50 here for Happy. He needs to do something. He needs to save this 3rd base, but it's going to be so difficult. Well, Zergling's going to flood straight on forwards to those while the Mutalists kill everything off, and Yeah, this is looking hard for Happy here. He just never hit his stride, never really was able to do anything to put on the pressure. GG for game number 1. Donregu will take it, and it looked very, very confident from Donregu.
I guess our question has been answered. I mean, he made Happy look like he's a bronze player or something. No offense to all the bronze players out there, but not like he's the rank 1 Grandmaster in Europe, which Happy very often is. That was a dominant performance. You don't get to see Happy lose like this every day.
No,
especially
no, you don't.
not in Home Story Cup, but like, I'm very impressed here with Donregu.
Yeah.
I was not sure how this was gonna go. Happy even mentioned he beat Donregu in ladder, so I was a little bit skeptical he will be this dominant, but now I have no doubt Donregu definitely the favorite in this series here.
Yeah, that was a strong performance by him. And again, it was just, for me, in that mid-game, or transitioning into the mid-game, the tables are turned. It was generally the Terran is wanting to be on the aggressive. He's wanting to be the one that's really piling on the pressure. But one thing that did occur there is that the Hellions at the very beginning, they didn't really slow down the creep spread too much. You'd already mentioned that it was out there, doing all right for itself, connecting up the third base, which is very, very important there for the Zerg.
Yeah.
And
you know, in the end, it feels like not starting 2-2, it allowed him to get more units, and it really helped in doing more damage before that.
Yeah, you could make an argument for that. It's quite a few more Banelings.
But you know, it really felt like Happy the way he was moving out and getting caught off guard by the size of the army of Donregu. It really felt like he was playing against another caliber of player of what he's used to. He was moving out like, he can only have this much now. Then suddenly he sees the army of Donregu, he's like, oh snap, how does he have this much? This guy is not the typical Zerg that I meet on Europe ladder.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It might have just been blindsided there completely. But right now, let's get into game number 2, as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner our Red Terran representing Team Empire. He is Happy, smiling. And spawning down at the bottom right-hand corner as our Blue Zerg. Currently 1 game up, he is MVP Donregu.
He finally found a true challenger to go up against him. Usually he plays on ladder, he's always rank 1.
Oh.
And now he lost the game and he's like, I can bleed, finally.
Well, is it game speed is the question? Because I always look at the drones and SCVs and I'm like, is that really the case? Are you checking settings?
You can't actually see it in the options, but somehow I always convince myself that you can.
Well, they could just restart for a second and see if it is or not. Press plus. I don't know.
This only works in single player.
Yeah.
Happy? Well, what next? He's gonna write the codes to get more money.
Yeah, man.
What were those?
I can't even remember all
I
the
used
codes
to
for
use
it.
them so much. How could I forget them?
For Warcraft 3?
No, for
your professional? No.
for Brood War.
Oh, for Brood War. Ah, no, I don't remember. I don't remember.
There's like power overwhelming. It's like you're invincible.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, those SCVs look fine to me. But anyway, we are back in this. And, yep, it is going to be Frost as our second map. Now, for me, personally, looking at the spawning positions alone, this is in favor for me for Happy. Is he really? Those SCVs looked fine, didn't they? Surely.
Let's see. He started this depot at like 58 seconds to 1 minute. So let's see at what time he starts it in the next game.
Hey, that's a good metric that we can use to see.
The clock is great, man. The clock helps so much. If you know a lot of timings on the clock, you can actually play pretty well while being a bad player, which
it's useful.
I know all about.
Oh, this guy.
I'm like, 6 minutes. It's time for the fastest DTs possible to come in. So I only look at my ramp. And then it never comes. But the one game that it comes,
you're like, yes, DTs, they're there. And then you realize you didn't go for a build with detection, and you're like, well.
No, you force field, that's the point.
Yeah,
and then you buy yourself time. But then you spent all of your gas on sentries that are useless later on, and you still lose.
Sick.
It's okay, man.
GG, man, GG. Well, we're going to get back into game number 2 here between Happy and Donregu in a second. Well, we'll find out in just a sec if that was indeed the right speed, as we've just joined the lobby. Okay, so Happy's got a tall mountain to climb. Got to say that, because Donregu looked fierce in game number 1.
He did look fierce. Donregu doesn't ever not look fierce, I think, but sometimes A less fearful.
less fearsome. Yeah.
Ah.
Got
Actually, Dongregu, I think he's one of those players that over the entire course of StarCraft he's definitely one of those guys up there, probably in the top 10 most impressive guys. Over the entire course, yeah. He started out in GSTL, nobody really knew him, and then he became the ace for MVP. He had so much great results. He won tournaments here and there, and he's always been very impressive. And sometimes people forget that, and he's here to remind us here today that he's one of those guys.
He certainly is. Like, even in the GSTL, like, he hardly ever lost. But anyway, guys, now we can get into game number 2 as we have spawning down at the bottom left-hand corner our red Terran. He is Empire Happy. And up to the top left, we have our blue Zerg. He is Dongregu.
The OD. The original Dong. Whereas, what? Jaedong is the one true Dong.
Guys, someone's gonna...
What's the original Dong compared to the one true Dong? He's below him.
Someone's gonna come and chase you down, and they're gonna lynch you. JD has really fanatical fans from what I've seen. Oh dear. Gamescom was... when he was walking around, man, people loved that guy. Crazy. But anyway.
The Zergs get so much love.
Hey, when did the supply depot start?
Oh.
Did you not look at it?
I was listening to your Jaedong story at Gamescom.
You were the one that started OD.
Hilarious. I don't know, it looks similar.
Yeah, it does look similar. Whatever. All right, so Jones is going to head on out, having a look around, making sure that nothing crazy is going on. Going to the watchtower first, and then where is he going to go from there? Actually, just chilling out at the watchtower.
Looks like we're going to have a CC first, out of Happy, which is perfectly fine on this map. Is it going to be on the high ground, you think?
Is it going to be on the high ground? No.
A lot of those very good Korean Zergs, they've been punishing greedier builds like this, but I think on the 4-players map, here in this situation against a player he's probably not that familiar with, I don't think Dongregu would ever try that all that much. So I like the choice here of Happy to go for this. And actually, he saw the command center, and he didn't reveal that he saw it. And I don't think that Happy saw the Overlord, so he's not going to know where his opponent is unless Dongregu chooses to reveal it and dances above the command center.
Wait. I don't think this is gonna...
Oh, he's showing him.
He just starts moving it around now. He's like...
He's purposely showing him. This is... Oh, I think he wants to intimidate him, because look what he's going for. He's going for the quick third base, so he wants him to think, maybe I'm going to be aggressive. But then what's going to trigger is that Happy is going to go for his scout here, and he's going to know exactly what he's up against, but it's going to be too late for him to decide to do something very aggressive this early on.
It's just a good scout by Dongregu. I mean, a luckier scout in essence, because he got that third hatchery down pretty much for free, knowing that there could be no aggression on the way, right? So that's really cool here for Dongregu. But meanwhile, Happy, he's still going to feel relatively comfortable with his opener. I mean, he's played against double hatch before pool before. He just needs to sniff it out, and then once he knows, then he'll be well underway to execute.
All right, with the spawning pool on the way here, I wouldn't be surprised. When do you think you take the gases here, if you're Dongregu? You drone up a lot and then...
I think you take it quick.
He's taking just one.
Like,
isn't that a little bit weird?
I think it's kind of important, right, to have speed out just in case something crazy is going on after taking this triple hatch, because you are taking a little bit of a risk, so I think that's important here.
Okay, Happy. Gonna go for the factory behind this. I think third command center. What do you think?
Did he see it yet? Did he see the third? No, he hasn't seen it.
He didn't see it, but he saw there was no gas.
He went down to the bottom one and checked that one, but considering the spawning positions, there's no real reason why he would have taken that one as a third, even though he checked it. So,
I don't know. He saw there was no gas in the main, so maybe he pulls a Daishi and goes command center first, no matter what he sees.
Yeah.
Daishi is like scouting, baning bust, man. He still goes for the third command center and still holds. Oh, and second factory. Yes. It's happening.
It's happening.
On these positions, it's going to be very interesting too. I mean, we saw FVP playing really well versus Curious previously.
This just
in that matchup, and I think it was similar positions, right? It was MVP bottom right and Curious top right hand side, if I'm correct.
But the thing is, though, Todd, is that this could just be like pure mass Hellions and nothing else. I mean, he is building a tech lab near that factory, so he could just switch that over.
Oh, yeah, true.
Like, get
I'm getting excited for nothing. It's just like
still leads onto it, right?
Yeah.
It would still lead on to mech. So, is he going to switch and get blue flame? do it. Or he could get a tank and be like really defensive.
Time for the barbecue, man.
Blue flame, blue flame, blue flame. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yeah! Okay, cool. I like blue flame. Dude, I like blue flame. Right, okay, Apollo has his favorite upgrade in terms of charge, but my favorite Terran upgrade is blue flame. It's
really?
cool.
I thought he was tunneling claws.
Tunneling claws? Why would I like tunneling claws?
Because you're a Zerg at heart.
No, I'm not.
And you like to abuse roaches.
Is this really your reasoning? Oh, never mind. Okay, so 2 Hellions are going to show themselves. This is kind of a little bit of a bait out here by Happy, because if he just shows these 2 Hellions, it's like, oh yeah, it's just normal Hellions. Just don't worry about anything. But then eventually, there's going to be 700 Hellions, and they're going to kill everything because they got blue flame.
Oh, and he's going to bring the next 3 Hellions immediately. Does he hide them in the middle of the map, or does he reveal them? There is an Overlord just above.
He needs to hide.
Oh, he shows them.
He needs to hide 1, because if...
Oh, and look at Don Grego, he's setting up a wall at his natural. He knows.
But
one
dude,
Spine Crawler, 1 Baneling Nest. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw at least 1 Evolution Chamber. He's starting a Spine Crawler. Well, try to start a Spine Crawler in his 3rd base as well.
He might, if he's reading this really closely, he might have an indication that there's 2 factories down without actually seeing them, because... Oh, we already saw them, never mind. Well, yeah, they're going to head on up. They're going to get blue flame very quickly here as well. But again, Domrigu knows this is double factory Hellions, so he has to be very careful indeed. But again, there being 5 Hellions out of that one point, if you'd have read into that and not seen it.
Oh, I really like the wall at the natural, by the way. You can just put in Queen in there, really, and this is going to buy him so much time for the Hellions not to get in there. But Happy doesn't care. He keeps on rallying Hellions across the map. Blue flame finish now. He might go in there, try and roast all of the Zerglings, and then go for the drones.
It's really good against someone who's not willing to throw down that Roach one. And it goes down now, but it could be too late here, as Empire Happy is going to march straight on into the 3rd base. There's a Spine Crawler to deal with this. Bye-bye drones. You've got to be very careful about where you position yourself.
And I completely agree with what you said. Against someone who doesn't like to go for Roach Run, this is good. But
yeah,
Don Grego finally made the Roach Run, but he basically locked himself in. Zerglings are trapped in the main. They cannot. The Hellions are not going to get in there, but units for he cancels the Roach Run in his wall actually just now, so Zerglings can come out and. This is such a nice hold. Only 6 drones have been killed.
Yeah, it's a really nice hold, but it's also really ballsy. If we saw Empire Happy being like far more aggressive and just suiciding in, he could do a lot of damage. He would lose all the Hellions, and then he would be viable to counterattack because there is the Baneling Nest down, and he wouldn't have many units to deal with it. But it's he's got to be so careful.
Look at the transition. A Thor is being made, 2 Hellbats, and the first Medivac is being made as well. Happy's going to start dropping very soon. Hellbats everywhere. That wall at the natural not going to help. And as much as there are Queens around, they are not that fast.
Oh, could get a few. No, only gets 1 or 2 there, so has to once again find another avenue of attack. Those Queens will push him away. Domrigu with the Queens, as you've rightly pointed out already, has been so good and thorough about this defense.
He needs the Mutas as soon as possible to help shut down those drops, and double Viking in production as well to try and snipe some Overlords. But I mean, Don Grego is going to start at least 6 or 7 Mutas, I think, very soon here. And look at the amount of Queens he has. He's like, I don't need Roaches. I got the Queen Dralisks. Copyright MC.
Queendrelisks. Well, 15 workers have already died.
Those Hellbats in the natural of Don Grego.
Killing off a lot of Zerglings and getting a few drones as well. They didn't get that many drones. They got quite a lot of Zerglings.
19 drones in total have been killed in this game, bringing Don Grego down to 64 drones against 55 SCVs. And Happy is now setting up his own 3rd base. So I have to say, he did some pretty good job with this.
And 3 more factories, so it's full up to mech here, whilst we have
He's going full Strelok.
Yeah, but Domrigu needs to, well, I mean, he should realize now that it is going to be mech, so he's going to combat it with Ling Bane Muta, which can be really difficult when there's this many Hellbats and Hellions on the field.
You know, Happy didn't tell me what he did when he played versus Don Grego on ladder, but I'm pretty sure he probably played mech.
Probably.
And, versus that's Muta, Zergling, and Baneling Styler. So in this game, the Roach Run goes down now.
It's
like
late.
Don Grego,
it's very late.
Yeah, I think he's probably like, I have no choice.
I mean, let's face it, like, just in general, Zergs don't have as much experience playing against mech, and that was absolutely epitomized by when we were seeing Curious playing against MVP, because Curious against Bio is amazing. He's so strong against it, but against mech, clearly there are weaknesses there for him, and Domrigu might have similar weaknesses. It depends on what we actually see from him.
Oh, those Hellions.
Gets a few of these Zerglings, but he's going to lose a lot of them to the Mutalist. He's just suiciding them now to get a few more drones.
I like how the drones were like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Just gonna sit there and keep on mining.
But now he's actually got triple evolution chamber now. He's pumping away at all of the upgrades, realizing it's mech. He's going Roach and Hydra, as well as getting some Infestors as well. Yeah, because he wants to get straight up to the Hive so he can get some Vipers out. He needs Roach, Hydra, Viper to combat this, because again, Ling, Bane, Muta just never, ever, ever really works against mech. He had to change.
How good or how bad do you think Ultras will be in this situation if you went for them?
If there's a lot of Thors in the composition, not very good, because Thors can actually bring down Ultras really, really quickly, but he's actually committing to a lot to tanks.
But not because of 250mm cannon, right?
No. Not quite.
It's so funny, like this one time Major was playing a game and I told him to use it. He's like, but it's really bad. It's better to attack with, especially with +3 attack upgrade. So he used it on, it was against Hydra on ladder.
Yeah.
He used it during a big fight and he got completely crushed and he lost the game from there, even though he was really far ahead.
Wow, sick.
That's when I learned you should never use it versus Ultras.
It's a good job that now there is indeed changes to them. But, well, Creep Spread's going to get going very nicely here for Donregu, and he is...
Oh my god, that's a lot of timbers, man.
Yeah, very nice.
I wouldn't even bother scanning at this point. It's like, you don't even have time to kill all of them before the scan runs out. And I like how Donregu is working on his mix right now. He's trying to get the perfect amount of Hydralisks that he wants to get, Roaches and Vipers as well. What do you think the ratio should be? Just a very few Hydras, lots of Roaches, and then...
Lots of Roaches if you're going up against a
Vipers
tank player, for me personally, is fantastic, because it just, you can, if you come in, the problem with the engagement for me is not so much the composition, it's how you engage, how you wrap around from either side to take it, because if you engage from a frontal position alone, you are probably going to die against that many units.
I really like this pack of units too on the bottom right hand side, ready to counter-attack as soon as Happy will move out in the middle of the map. He knows that there is no planetary fortress down there. There is only an orbital command, one tank, and with the sensor tower spotting this, I mean, Happy could come back, but that's why Donregu is going to wait for him to move out. And he's actually prepared some Mutas on the left-hand side as well. Those Vikings might be able to start shooting at them now. And he goes for the run-by in the third base. There is only one tank there. It's actually, oh my god.
He's walled it off with command centers.
By chance.
The metagame 6. It's being broken. No, I'm joking. Well.
Actually, okay, I was wondering if this command center was for another expansion or for Planetary Fortress. This is actually really clever. How do you run by against this?
I don't know, man. I mean, he secures these bases. And so, well, Swarm hosts, enduring locusts are on the way. So Donregu is willing to take this to the very, very long game, which is important against Happy here. But at the same time, Happy will then eventually transition on to starports. In fact, he's heading on 3 tech labs. Where are they? Are they on starports? They're on starports. So, well, he's got to combat this first. That's a lot of Roaches and Hydralisks, but they're being pretty... they've got to get out of there. They can't stay there for long.
Definitely going full Strelok.
What? Brings a Viking forwards, but that's really not going to do too much. Okay, right, okay, the thing is that now Happy, once he's, you know, very, very stable on these 4 bases, if he starts transitioning properly onto these starports, that's where it gets really, really scary.
He's going to max out, that's for sure. I mean, there's no way he's going to die in the next minutes, and he's on 4 bases now, which he's pretty happy about, so he's going to keep on making command centers everywhere. He's going to make sure he has enough building to remake an army up on fighting, and the first Ravens are getting underway. Corvid reactor as well. This is going to be a scary army here being assembled by Happy. How do you counter this as a Zerg?
It's really difficult. It has begun, Todd. The Ravens are on the way. And they're going to have to be watching that wall pretty intently as well. Going to have it out here with the tanks.
Oh, one of the Viper got sniped by the Vikings down there, but
nice.
The counter-attack doing a little bit. Donregu chooses to retreat here.
Yeah, he can't stick around there with the swarm hosts, otherwise they just get shredded up.
By the way, not the greatest upgrades by Happy. He didn't upgrade all that fast. He's on 2-1 now. He just started 3-2. And same thing for Donregu. They have not been going upgrade heavy early on because they had to make so many units, I guess. They were kind of, I guess Happy was like doing a build that's not really economy or tech based, but just like trying to do damage. And Donregu had to defend, so they neglected. Both of them neglected upgrades for a very long time.
For me, Donregu at this point has to just take like more bases up to the top right. Yes, he's taken those 2 and that's great, but just, you know, just take the one up to the very, very top corner. Just take the one over just south of those as well. Just get all the economy you can do, because Happy right now is not mobile at all.
Both players have the same worker count actually, 78 to 78.
Ah, yeah. They do, so the economies are going to be very, very close, but now...
Every time he kills a few Hellbats with these locusts before the tanks can take out some of those, and He's very active with those swarm hosts. He moves them back. He has constant movement, and he's harassing at the bottom.
Yeah.
Dongregu is doing this so well right now. He's doing a ton of work.
He really is doing quite a lot indeed. He's killed off quite a few. He's killing off a few workers with that. But the good thing that's about Happy's composition is that with Ravens mixed in against a Swarm Host player, you don't have to drop a ton of scans constantly if you want to move forwards and engage the army, because the Raven can spot the Swarm Host anyway. So that alleviates a bit of energy to throw down even more mules and get that economy really, really going. But Happy is confined to his corner of the map and his corner of the map alone. I would love to see just Donregu just take everything else, because Happy can't move at this point.
You're not going to give that one up, are you?
There you go. That one. Look, he's containing him very, very nicely.
Yeah. The Ultra Cavern is now on their way, and I mean, Dongregu is... I really feel like he's already doing what he needs to be doing with those units, and this Swarm was actually nice concave.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the zoom out here. Good job in Feza.
Good job in Fez. You're doing all right. He's like thumbs up behind the stage. Like, very nice. Whoa.
Oh, that Fungal barely missed on a lot of these Raven and Vikings. It would have been a great catch if he could have gotten them.
He actually walked those Infestors right back into some of those Hunt-Seeker missiles and lost one or two of them. But he does have the Queens here, so Transfuses are going to be able to help out.
As much as Dongregu has been doing a great job, this army of Happy is so scary.
And he actually walks on forwards with these Infestors here. They're taking a lot of splash damage with those Locusts that are ending up dying, and that wasn't the most amazing of trades, I don't think, but he got a few tanks, etc.
He's trading energy for units. If you look at the supply, Happy dropped down to 170-something supply, so Dongregu almost didn't lose much here.
Yeah, because, I mean...
And behind this, look at what he's doing. He's massing out on Infestors.
Exactly. It's like, even though he lost maybe 1 or 2 Infestors in that engagement, replenishing with 9 because he has like 700 gas guys is
he has so much money.
Yeah.
Why not make like 50 spines and then 50 drones?
More Hunter Seekers, though. Gonna go down, killing off a few of these Swarm Hosts. One of the most amazing death sounds in the game. It's like...
This really feels like a game of Warcraft, man, with all the spells and all. The Ravens flying, like they use Clap and Blizzard.
Wait a minute. How many does he? He has 11 Ravens. He has 11.
He has a lot. But actually, Happy... he's grouped all of his Ravens and Vikings in one group.
No
tank is in range to get these Infestors.
He needs to stop those Infestors. He needs to stop them now, otherwise he's going to lose so much of his army. What a fantastic chain of fungal growth here by Donregu. The perfect execution, and they're all going to go down. Oh my god. The Locust plow forwards with the Hydralists as well. Donregu senses that there is a huge opportunity here.
Yeah.
Happy needs to buy time to get more Ravens down.
I think Donregu definitely noticed that these Raven and Vikings, they were in just one group, the same group. So he's like, I'm going to try to force a mistake out of you. He worked very hard and long for this to happen, but it happened.
Wow.
And now he's killed all of these Ravens. And essentially, I mean, they were the most important units in his composition for Happy.
Yeah, Hunt-Seeker missiles keep going down. Donregu is still bringing the fight to him, but Happy takes a little bit of supply advantage. Now, as he is killing off a few of those Swarm Hosts, throwing down the scans, didn't have the Ravens in range to get the actual vision of that at all. But now 3-3 is going to finish up for the melee here of Donregu, and he's adding on more Swarm Hosts. We could see him go up to the Spire, get up to Greater Spire, and try for some Broodlords with Swarm Hosts as well, but he has to be so careful about that because there is so much access to Vikings and Ravens.
Yeah, and Spore's going to be thrown down in the middle of the map as well. I'm surprised he hasn't made a bunch of spines as well, but Donregu spent his money so well. He's made some spines on the top right-hand side, he's made a macro hatch there, he's actually on so many lavas right now, 54 in total. And
one thing that I'm kind of curious about, though, is that Happy was able to get a 5th base down to the bottom right-hand corner because Donregu abandoned that location that he was harassing at so strongly.
He didn't even try to block it, like leave one overload there, drop some creep, burrow, Zergling, do something.
He needed to stay down there and continue to limit Happy's economy because with that base down at the bottom,
down there.
I mean, he could just drop every mule there, but this, nah, it won't die to that. But at least he knows it's there, right?
Yeah,
he needs to shut it down.
Oh, I thought he was going to send Locusts there because he has so many Swarm Hosts, but I guess he feels like he has to keep on sending these Locusts in the middle of the map. And, whoa, Happy unsieged.
Yeah.
Did he really want to go for a fight here?
I don't think so. Well, he lost a few tanks there. So
you know what? Happy has spent his entire bank and he's not maxed out anymore. So Dongregu finally, he had a breakthrough in this game. And wow, okay, this goodbye Planetary Fortress.
Yeah,
you had 16 kills, you had a good run, you mined like 500 minerals out of this base, but...
You had a good turn of Planetary Fortress, but GG, it's over. The Locusts are on the way. Well, yeah, bye-bye in just a second. As they will end up falling.
4 more Infestors.
4 more Infestors? How many does he have?
I said
7.
this was a game of Warcraft, but I take it back. This is actually Wings of Liberty we're watching. Oh, I guess he lost a lot of his Infestors. He was down to 7 here. So he's gonna go back up to like 11 here in a second. And whoa, these Swarmos, they need to reposition here very quickly. They're still out of the scan. He should burrow them here in a second and send them in. Those Ravens, they're gonna have something to say about this. They throw down auto turrets.
Happy has to be careful. He's on creep here, so he has to be very, very diligent about his positioning, because right now his siege tanks are very well split. They're very split up, so the Locust can get on top of them. They're not dying up before they reach the siege tanks, and that was a great trade there for Donregu as he came in from the perfect angle to kill off those separated siege tanks.
Yeah, Donregu here is basically saying, you might have beat me in ladder, but when it matters, this is another story. I played near perfect game here, and these poor Ravens, man, they're getting caught by Infestors now. Oh, using some anti-seeker missile just above this fight here.
Donregu's executed this so well right now, taking a massive, massive supply advantage. Now transitioning into the Ultralisks, realizing that this is when that mech is most weak. And maybe the Ultralisks wouldn't have worked against that huge siege tank line, but now they're just the nail in the coffin here to say, get out of my game, Happy, because Donregu's played it superbly.
And this amount of Locust is swarmy. I don't see another word to describe it.
If that's how you want to describe the Zerg, you may be able to.
Wow. And you make fun of me just like that, huh?
You make fun of me all the time, man.
It's fine, it's fine. Just wait.
I know. All right.
Oh, and Happy still has all of his Ravens and Vikings in one group. Not that it matters, but you would have thought that he'd learn. What does he need to learn? Not to do that, like a GIF of what happened with the first fungal? I mean,
we can make a GIF of it, I guess. It's doable. But yeah, he's going to lose quite a bit here.
It really feels like you shouldn't group your Ravens, or you should have them well spread out and use them one by one if you're going to move into Infestors and try and use some Hunter-Seeker missile.
And that's what he's looking to do once again. Hunter-Seekers do end up going down, but now he reveals and sees that there are quite a few Ultralisks barreling down this location.
Oh, wow. Those
good
Swarmos are actually quite clumped up.
Yeah.
Those Ultras not going to care about the Planetary Fortress here. Donregu looking to secure himself his first win in this tournament and in this group, essentially. He wants to face EffOrt.
Noticeably, Blinding Cloud at the Planetary Fortress, so it makes it a bit harder for it to do anything. So that's cool, that's neat. But as you can see here, Donregu in full command of this game. Yes, there's that base down at the bottom right-hand corner, but there is one lonely SCV. He's like,
it's
my
all up to you,
efforts
man.
will not be in vain.
It's all up to you to bring the economy back up.
It's all up to you to deal with 20 swarm hosts, man. Good luck. Well, this is going well for Donregu. I think he could have done even better in this game if he'd have kept the small contingent of forces down at this bottom right and kind of suffocated his opponent even more so. But he still recognized it early and dealt with it in turn. So
at least scanning middle of the map, he sees there are only Ultras there. He's gonna move in there. I think he knows the Swarmos are probably on the bottom right-hand side at this point. He might try to go for a move in which he counter-attack. I think at this point, Happy's only chance is maybe to go for some kind of base raid. What? What's so funny? I
just find it funny that the entire line of Swarmos come up to kill this Planetary Fortress.
It looks like the campaign or something, like something funny you would see.
Yeah, it's brilliant, man.
It's like a real game.
It's the Swarm train. They're on the way, man.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
They're like running in a straight line.
It's the slowest train of all time, but it's there and it packs a lot of punch. You can't stop it.
Parting Soul Train got nothing on Donregu's Swarm Host.
Not this one, it's the Swarm Host Soul Train.
Actually, most of those have a lot of kills.
Yeah, they're doing well for themselves.
Slayer, 6 kills.
Slayer, Swarm Host.
They all have at least 1 kill, I think.
Oh dear, that one had 12. He's a Ravager, boss. All right, okay. So yeah, this is going to be a slow death once again here for Happy.
Slow but sure death.
Yeah. Actually has a really good army, but there's no way he's ever going to engage.
Look at the economy. At this point, all of these Swarmos could die and it wouldn't matter.
Poor little Hunter-Seekers fizzle out.
Did you see that one? It was rolling on the floor.
Yeah, it's like one of the saddest sights in StarCraft. They want to do so much damage, they're so inspirational, but then... They don't really do much, poor little guys.
I had never seen it because Protoss units never get away.
Look at this. He only ever needed the Infestation Pit. Look at it. Swarm hosts, infestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, actually.
Yeah.
That's a great way to counter mech. If you have trouble versus mech,
Infestation Pit.
And play as well as Donregu.
Infestation.
Very simple.
Yeah. Infestation Pit and Donregu skills, the counter to mech. Wow. All right, well, this is going to continue on, guys.
Happy is not about to give up here. He's known for his patience. He's known for his capability to wait, but at this point, I think there's just too much.
These Hunter Seeker missiles are really sad.
Go ahead, remake the noise you just made, the tank shooting.
Wait, no, I didn't do the tank shooting. I was doing the Hunter Seekers.
Oh, okay.
Poor little guys.
Horrible.
That's bad. All right, well, Ultralisk is going to step into the fray as well. And actually, the Blind Cloud's helping out quite against a few of these tanks. So them being shredded up is helping out considerably. As well as a few fungals on the Ravens as well to kill some off. And it looks like Donregu is probably going to end up finishing it right here, right now with good fungals. But that being said, he's actually losing some of these Ultralisks. But let's not forget, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, Donregu has 7,000 minerals and 5,000 gas. So he can make 2 armies and still be fine.
Yeah, but I think he's just going to keep up with his army. He's happy with the way he's trading, and GG gets called. Very impressive win here. Took a while to finish the game, but it really never felt like Donregu was in any danger from that time. He killed all of those Ravens and Vikings.
Yeah, the danger days for Donregu passed when the Blue Flame Hellions had been spotted, and then, you know, they were subsequently shut down without really doing too much. From there on, Donregu knows what he's doing. He dealt with it effectively, I would say.
To say the least.
To say the least. So that means we are going to have Donregu versus EffOrt in the upper part of this group here in Group B, and then we'll have KingkOng versus Happy in the lower. So next up, I think definitely will be that ZVZ of Donregu versus EffOrt, which is probably going to be quite good, considering we saw EffOrt play some very good ZVZ against his opponent KingkOng.
We saw EffOrt playing very good overall. I mean, if this guy made it to the finals or even won here, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
he's been playing very impressively.
He does look really good, you're right. I mean, all the CJ players in the past couple of weeks have really been impressing me. They've been practicing damn hard, man. And then we're going to have Happy versus KingkOng to see who is the first player eliminated from the group, sadly.
And who gets another chance.
Yes, who gets another chance against the winner of our next... against the loser of our next match. So, guys, in just a little bit, we shall go to a break. But we've had some good games so far.
Yeah, those were really good games.
Yeah.
You might look at the score, think, 2-0, Donregu will be happy. Not so important. But if you look at the games, well... Textbook, cool. How to play Zerg versus Terran, and against both Bio and Mech.
Yeah, very impressive by Donregu. All right, guys, we're going to go to a break, and then when we're back, we'll have more StarCraft action from the Intel Extreme Masters, Singapore.
Professional grade communication tool. The choice of professional teams. Perfect stream viewing experience. Chosen by online streamers. easy to use voice messenger service. Chosen by over 12 million gamers.
Communication is always vital when competing in tournaments. Winning a match requires perfect coordination. You cannot win by yourself.
Raid Call. Communication for winners.